Today we put 2026 F1 cars up against 2021 F1 cars. The last set of non-ground effect regulations versus the most current set of non-ground effect regulations in what is going to be a very interesting comparison. The 2026 cars coming in heavier, but they have the new active aero, the front wing also moving, the extra battery, of course. But in 2021, the cars are way more aerodynamically inclined. And of course, in 5 years' time, a lot has changed with the teams, with the drivers. Let's get into it. It's a full grid of 20 cars. We're at the back of the grid driving an Audi, but look at that front row. It is Lewis Hamilton in 2021 versus Lewis Hamilton in 2026. Mercedes versus Ferrari, two huge different eras for the 7-time world champion as we get underway from the back of the grid. And it's very, very odd, but so cool to be seeing some of these old liveries and old cars up against each other as it's 3 wide ahead. And oh, the Ferrari spun! Of course he has. That terrible 2021 Ferrari has got Charles Leclerc completely stuck on the side of the road as Lewis Hamilton has PTSD. He's got Verstappen from 2021 chasing after him. This is... like I said, it's going to be a fascinating race just for the sake of seeing these two different eras on track at the same time. Essentially almost like an F1 inter multi-class sort of race as we defend from Ocon in the Alpine. I must say, commentating a race like this is a challenge to get all the different combos right, as we saw Latifi there in the Williams trying to get the modern Williams of, I think, Carlos Sainz, Tsunoda and the AlphaTauri ahead of his old but new team Red Bull Ford. That's a little bit weird. Tsunoda going back to the future, I guess, with that Red Bull versus AlphaTauri combo as we close up to Fernando Alonso in the 2026 Aston Martin with a custom livery. We don't know what the actual Aston Martin looks like, but where we can, we've got the most updated 2026 liveries for these cars. But it's no surprise maybe that 2021 Mercedes is leading the way and is already stretching its legs. Hamilton in the Ferrari is keeping up in second, but Verstappen is closing as we see a fight between two 2026 cars, Mercedes versus Red Bull. But Latifi is lurking in the background as we have McLaren versus AlphaTauri into turn 1. I think we've done pretty well to be up to P14 as there's a bit of an issue ahead. Oh, oi, oi, oi. Very, very quick thinking to slam on the brakes. We were P14, we're now P11, fighting for P12, potentially being pushed down to there by Mick Schumacher in the Haas as it's all kicking off for that corner. I think they're just all losing it with the curb, with the way it is, as we gain now on Tsunoda in the AlphaTauri. I think I was going to say we made pretty good progress on that opening lap, because I can already maybe have a hunch that, you know, despite all the extra battery, extra drag reduction, remember, you know, with the active aero, the way it works, the 2021 cars are just so much quicker. Even with that extra battery, which you'll see in a bit because we're not deploying overtake mode yet. I'm going to save it till after lap 2 just to keep things fair. But once we use that overtake or override mode, whichever way you want to say it, you'll see we will gain significant amount of time. Oh, yeah. I mean, we're not going to gain any time like that. That just showing the 2026 cars very unstable. I think that's also one thing. The AI driving the 2021 cars, they're probably so confident on the brakes. They've got that balance, whereas these 2026 cars, at least with this mod, it's very on a knife edge. And, you know, you need to be careful. But that also may just be my own muscle memory of, you know, the stability we had in the last year's regulation. As we go by then 2 cars with ease with overtake mode on the Haas, on the Williams of Carlos Sainz, I think that is. And so you saw there example in point, the overtake mode clearly making our car quicker, but over the course of a lap, the 2021 car being lighter, you know, being a bit more nimble on its feet, having that extra aerodynamics, of course, you know, with the very complex barge board area compared to what we have now in 2026, is going to win over, it seems, at least initially here, as we're now going up against Max Verstappen in the Red Bull Ford. And to be fair, that's a big little win for Tsunoda. Tsunoda in the AlphaTauri has overtaken his old but yet to be teammates in Formula 1. That's such a confusing combo. I think this is, you may laugh a bit at the comparison because it's a game, we're on a set of course with mods, but I think it's actually quite a good comparison, maybe an accurate one, because both of these mods we're using today, by the way, the underlying car is Race Sim Studios. So that team, the exact same team, has made the 2021 generic car and the 2026 generic car. If I had used two different mods from two different modding teams, you probably don't feel like there's much good comparison being able to be made, but you feel like they've probably gone about the physics in the same way, just use the different parameters, etc. So I think this could actually be a somewhat realistic comparison. We'll never get one in real life, of course, because they would never do a race like this, but that's the beauty of a game with mods, of doing a multi-class F1 race, as we're having actually a ding-dong battle with Tsunoda as we're crisscrossing from right to left, left to right. It's all kicking off. We give Tsunoda the squeeze. This is actually quite an equal fight so far, with Tsunoda, the man out of Formula 1 at the moment, as we go round the outside to finish this move off. And meanwhile, behind, there's a fun fight going on between an Alfa Romeo and the Red Bull Ford. Of course, the Alfa Romeo team now, through its different phases, is now the Audi team that we are driving as. We've got Leclerc actually recovering from that spin. He's got the Alpine. He's now having a go at his old Ferrari, or new Ferrari to be teammate Carlos Sainz in the Williams that he's now moved to. Yes, that's the right one as well. Oh, Lord. Oh, no. Do you know what this is? Lewis Hamilton. Well, he's already faced a little bit of PTSD from Max Verstappen in the 2021 Red Bull overtaking him. This is probably going to be S-tier PTSD. This is 2021 Nicholas Latifi in the Williams looking to overtake Hamilton in his Ferrari. He must be getting war flashbacks from Abu Dhabi all those years ago. Latifi down the inside, he's overtaken him. He's got him. And so Lewis Hamilton's chances of being on the podium maybe lowering, as I think that is him down to fourth place, I believe, or at least third, and there probably will be another car closing. It might be Sebastian Vettel here closing on Russell, as Russell loses the back end. No! Oh, you're kidding me. George, really? You couldn't have just span left. You had to correct and spin right into the direction I was going. Brilliant. So Russell spun it and taken me out temporarily. He's taken out Sebastian Vettel out fully, which is a bit upsetting to see Seb out in that 2021 Aston, which was obviously an evolution of the copycat Racing Point in 2020. As further down the order now, having gained some free positions, we see Alpine versus Alfa Romeo. So a lot of the 2021 cars now are fighting each other here. So we've got a few that are actually still slower and behind the newer regulations, but clearly in clean air. That Mercedes, for example, of Hamilton, the Red Bull of Verstappen, stretching their legs. But in the traffic, maybe because of the battery usage and that active aero, if you can keep them behind or, just kind of, give them the dirty air, obviously you will be quicker on the straights and pull away. It's just that in the corners, you've got no chance, as we see some fighting going on between three 2026 cars. It's the Haas versus Aston and the Alpine, I think it was, in the background, as we are now trying to use all the overtake mode to close on the next fight going on. But it's Hamilton in the Mercedes leading from Verstappen in second place. So very, very much fitting of their 2021 season. In third place, I believe it is Nicholas Latifi, of all people. Fourth is Hamilton. He's actually been closed up by Mick Schumacher, the car that got away from us earlier on in the race. So it's the last lap, as you can see Hamilton and Schumacher side by side, and we are trying to use as much of the overtake mode as we can to desperately gain. And to be fair, Hamilton is doing me a solid holding up Schumacher, otherwise he would be comfortably quicker. But we have gained, so we could make a double pass here for P4 to go from P20, which would be a pretty damn great achievement, I think, in a race like this, where clearly we're driving a slower car of the two classes that we've got, as Schumacher is blocked by Hamilton. Use that overtake mode, active aero, front and rear wing opening, and we're going to fly by Schumi. We're going to fly by Hamilton into P5. It is... Oh, actually, yeah, sorry, P5. So Latifi's not on the podium, but he is P4, which is pretty crazy. It's Ricciardo then. I actually maybe saw the McLaren. I didn't notice he was actually up there. So Daniel Ricciardo, a blast from the past in the McLaren in third, but it's Hamilton and Verstappen 1 and 2 in the 2021 cars. It's a blast from the past, familiar territory for those two. And, well, over the course of the race, clearly the 2021 cars were quicker, but what a spectacle that was here around Bahrain to see some of those cars side by side. Guys, if you have enjoyed the video, hit the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys around. Goodbye.